Hello everybody, once again, I'm Liam Crafton Jr., aka Zorval John the Less Than Guru, and this video is kind of a companion video to Torg Tuesday number 24. So instead of combining a Torg Tuesday with Torg stuff with my normal update, here's Mars Video Cat, I decided to break them up into two smaller, more easily digestible videos. So look at, and I'm looking here so I can see my my writing. Torg Tuesday number 24. So this is my update. So I won't be talking about Torg. So I'll be talking about Torg in that video. The update I do want to talk about and some thoughts and discussion are from some recent games, very recent. Today is Tuesday and they happen on Friday and Sunday. Sunday's already been posted. Look at the 31st session, Thunderspire number 5, here in my Nintir Vale, Palladium Nintir Vale, first campaign. And then I'll talk about Blades in the Dark really fast also. So let's start with Blades in the Dark because that was a couple of weeks ago. We had Sunday. It was our third session. It went by really, really well. I am completely shocked and amazed by how much I really like Blades in the Dark. Blades in the Dark, half of it is kind of old school. You get consequences that kind of hurt if you don't do it. Damage doesn't heal between adventures. It carries on until you can get healers to heal it, or if you get stress, you have to indulge in what your vice is in order to kind of decompress. And that, if you don't do it or you don't do enough of it, then you are still in a bad state when you go out on your next mission. So it's almost a spiral. But that consequence type thing, I really like. I also like the crew aspect. The crew aspect makes it so that your character is not the end all to be all important thing in the adventure. There might be times where you overindulge and your character goes away, whether they're arrested and thrown in jail or whether they're out on a binge that they just can't get away from, or their reputation takes a bad turn because they're seen out in public and they have to lay low for a while. Whatever crazy things might have happened, your character might be out, and then you play a new character. And that is really cool. It's a really cool, very old school type campaign setting, but smaller because it's the crew. But the city is the campaign. The city of Duskwall, or Duskwall, is the main thing. You really don't go much further than the wall. It really has that old school setting and consequence vibe. Having said that, the other half of it is completely different. It is very, don't have to worry about equipment lists until they come up. You can have flashbacks, so you don't have to plan stuff ahead of time. You just get to a situation, you say, "Oh, I need this." You check it off your equipment list. You or you have a flashback. "Oh yeah, I prepped it this way." You come up with some way of how you prepped it. You take a couple of stress for it. You can take some stress or make a devil's deal with the game master to give yourself some bonus rolls and stuff like that. So you're bringing and creating stuff into the game as a player. If you watch my channel, you know that I'm very uncomfortable with that. It's not that I think it's a bad, it's just not my personal style of play. I don't like bringing in things. I like having those things there, stuff there, and interacting with that and solving problems. But having said that, it's a very fun mechanic. We've had 3 sessions so far. You can watch those here. You can at least watch our third one. The first 2, I just didn't think at that time about recording it, and then it's like, duh, I should have asked that. So we're recording it. I'm putting it, publishing it here on this channel as Campaign 2, Blades in the Dark. So take a look at that. You'll also see, if you compare that to one of my Palladium Nintir Vales, you'll see how completely different the games are. So as a player and as game master, you can do things differently. You don't have to always try the same thing. I mean, I know things get comfortable, but you can kind of break free and you can have fun in lots of various types of tabletop role playing games. You might have a favorite, That's for sure. Don't doubt that at all. But you might be able to enjoy other genres, other types of games, other rule sets, different settings. There's just different styles. There's just a lot out there to experience. So I really urge anybody, if you're more into new games, take a look at some of the old games out there. You can find some really good uh, ideas and stuff about how things were a lot looser back in the day, and there was a lot of game master rulings instead of just hardcore rules and stuff. But then there is even that new stuff of just the players just bringing stuff in, whether that's encoded in the rules or just part of the game and the narrative. So that's Blaze in the Dark. Then I want to talk about Earth Dawn. Still loving Earth Dawn. Earth Dawn is probably now, I said it's become my top tie with Torg Eternity as game that I absolutely love. We're just doing great. The group, all the players I've known for a long time, as well as most of the time I played with that part of my home group because I have various parts and people in the home group. Normally I'm the game master, and there's been one of my good friends for decades. He was the game master and I was a player, or I was a player and he was the game master, and it was very narrow times where we both got to be players at the same time. And this one we are. I'm Windling Weaponsmith. He's a troll warrior, and it's really cool to watch how we as players interact when we're friends in real life, and then we are both players and not on that game master player side of things. And that's actually with a lot of people. The player of Sylvie, the Elven Elementalist, things like that, is kind of the same situation. And we have a really good game master who always has been a good game master, who sometimes loses focus and wants to do new shiny things, but we kind of have got him kind of straitjacketed into game mastering Earth Dawn, and it's really fun. I'll come back to Earth Dawn after I talk about Palladium. Palladium on Sunday, and it's here, like I said. It is the session number 31. It is the fifth session of Thunderspire. So since I have taken on a approach to the Palladium campaign of having it be a campaign setting instead of one group of the same characters going on stuff, there's all these plots out there, and the players get to choose different characters to go on all these plots. And sometimes they will be a one night, one session thing, but other ones will take longer. So the one that we are currently doing, again, session 5 of that, total session would be 31, is in Thunderspire. That has everybody has a committed character to the Thunderspire plot. So I need everybody to show up on those, or I need certain things to work, like what happened on Sunday. On Sunday, everybody was ready to play. I said, okay, if everybody shows up, we'll do Thunderspire. If less people show up, we will do another plot. And one of the players was going to be late. But he said a different player whose character was knocked unconscious because half of the party had been knocked unconscious and close to death. He said one of those players could play his character. Okay, that's fine. I had an NPC in the party, so another one of those unconscious characters, the player of that, was going to play the NPC. The third player, I said, I have seen, and recently I've been rewatching my campaigns because I'll forget things and I will not hear things because I'm concentrating on one thing. Somebody says something and I'll not hear it. So I'm going through the old sessions to kind of catch myself up on. And there were one entire full session and one that was like 2 hours and 50 to 55 minutes out of a 3 hour session where one player wasn't able to play. And that sucks. It sucks really bad if you would show up in person and your character would be knocked out the entire time and you couldn't play. It really sucks when that happens twice. Now, the first one was bad. Things drew on, and his character was one that could not heal mystically, and they didn't know the cure of it. But I had another character get introduced through another player whose character actually died, who knew what to do. And in that one, the party spent the entire session arguing with this character and almost getting, like, it was a 3 hour almost in a fight. Um, any of you watched other sessions of mine, or in general, you know how a shopping session could, that's supposed to be 10, 20 minutes or even pre-game, will turn into an entire session. I've had that happen here a couple of times, but that was just a party bickering that took almost the entire session. Luckily, at the end of it, the character finally was able to get healed and up. But I remember that, and I didn't want to happen again. So I did say, if you don't want to show up, I will completely understand, and I'll give you full experience for it, because it's not your fault if certain circumstances happen that people are going to argue and bicker, and you're just going to sit listening to what's going on. What ended up happening is very soon before like, say 30 minutes before the game started, a second player called to say that they would be late as well, and also said that one of the other players could play his character. So the three unconscious players had an NPC and two late player characters. So we actually were able to go further with the Thunderspire plot. Also, we have introduced a new player and set of characters for that player. Aaron will be joining us. Aaron is one of the home group that's been around. He played in my Friday Torg. He plays in the Earth Dawn, etc. It's just at some point I had a certain, like, I don't want this more than X many players, and Jenny dropped out, and we played a while, and I realized that Palladium really needs more players. Old school games were set up not for the 4 or 5 PCs like modern D&D set up for. Those older games, you could have 8, 10, 12, 13 player characters were kind of normal in certain situations back then. So I asked him if he wanted to do that, if he had the time. He jumped on it, so he brought a character in. And also, James Huddleston, the creator of the system we use in Foundry. So Foundry Virtual Tabletop, that's the platform, and then you have different systems in it. I use the GRPGA, the Generic Role-Playing Game Aid system, and that's where I was able to build my first edition Palladium game. And you can use it, and I've mentioned it here. There's videos setting up. You can use it for Palladium. And James just recently said there are 17 different rule sets that his generic role-playing game aid can support. So I do know there is, it does GURPS, it does Mutants and Mastermind. One guy's doing Rifts, another guy's doing Palladium Robotech. I'm doing Palladium First Edition. And there's apparently a Shadowrun fourth edition. A lot of games that I don't play, but they're all able to be built within that system. And then he's broken off versus the Dark Master, or against the Dark Master, off from that into its own thing. So he came to play. He had played back, I want to say, I could be wrong on this, episode maybe 13, around there, as a special guest star. So he brought that character that had gained some experience since then, and was able to come in and play. So that you can watch here, that's already posted. That's kind of the opposite of the Earth Dawn, though. Really like both games. One is a player, one is a game master. But with this one, if either any player would have not been comfortable with somebody else playing their character, that would have been fine, because this Palladium game is one that not everybody necessarily needs to know what everybody else does. So sometimes the paladin will go, I'm a paladin, but if there's some sneaky type thief or assassin or a beloved, which is my version of the witch, any of those, they're not going to announce it. And I don't want the players necessarily to know it out of character, because it can be extremely difficult to keep out of character stuff from affecting your in-character knowledge. So there's a lot of secrets and hidings and people with different agendas and stuff like that. This one just happened that the characters that were being played that were conscious didn't have a lot of those secrets and stuff, so the players really didn't care if somebody else played their character for a while, and it worked out. Had that not been able to work out, I would have shifted it to a different plot line. I have some Guardmore Abbey plot stuff going over there. One of the characters has a couple of quests he wants to do, figure out some stuff there. And there's other little maybe one session type adventures that I'm going to do one next week, even though it is normally our Blades in the Dark week. The Game Master won't be there. So when you have a campaign setting, you can do like me and say, hey, people who show up, you can bring a character and do this. If not, it's not going to affect any of the other plot lines. That, you know, those won't move on without you, and you can have that type of stuff. That is in contrast to the Friday, which is a group is the main thing, which is fine. I'm not saying one is better. I'm just saying here's some ideas in case you're not necessarily sold or you don't know what the benefits of a campaign setting game would be instead of a group focused game. So the group focused game, we are going on a plot line to get some amulet out of an illusionist tower. And it is the illusionist in our group who either owes a favor or who's doing this to get training. I'm not sure the details, but we are doing this for one of the party members. And that's great, because after we do this, my character is like, hey, can you escort me over to this other place so that I can do my plot line, and then we can do somebody else's plot line and just move around. Great and everything, but we got to that point and real life happens. Real life can prevent you legitimately from being able to play a game that you 20 minutes, 1 hour, 2 days ago were ready and willing to play, and then real life comes in and just squashes your plans. And when that happened, we lost the person in that plot line. Now we continued it, but the entire time, and we had fun. Don't get me wrong, we had a lot of fun. This illusionist tower is completely mind blowing and crazy, and has all of these illusions and real traps and weird things going on in it, but there was a sense of, would we be doing better if the actual illusionist was here? Are we not seeing through things? Are we seeing through things? What is kind of going on here? So you kind of lose that, and sometimes in organized play, when you have multiple weeks, there might be if we will accept one person not being able to show up, but as soon as two people can't show up, then we'll stop. And there was times where I had real life stuff where I had work meetings to go to, that we paused the game because somebody was out, and then I had to do this during the game. So they paused the game, and then once I was done with the meeting, we started the game up. And that's not good for anyone. I felt really bad on that, but sometimes people want to play, and if that's the rules, then you'll pause, do your other thing, and come back to play, whether that's in person or in real life. The campaign setting benefit is, doesn't matter who shows up that night, especially if they have multiple characters, because if those characters are out doing that thing over here, not those people show up, grab a new character, and the game master can do a one session or a different plot for different characters and stuff like that. So basically that's kind of what's been happening in my thought processes over the group play of everybody has one character, and the campaign setting play of the setting is the important thing, and you have different people affecting the setting, but you're not tied down to one character. Yes, your characters, if you play multiple ones, will advance slower, and Palladium is a slow advancing game as it is, but if people can't make it, if I'm the game master, if I can make it, we can have a game. So give and take, and also Blades in the Dark is really, really cool. If you hear good things about it, they probably are true. Really suggest trying it out. Once again, I am Liam Crafton Jr., aka Zorvaltron Less Than Guru, and until next time, I will catch you later.